WVUA-FM, Tuscaloosa.
Thank you for tuning in. This is 90.7 The Capstone, the student section. My name is Brady. I'm here joined with Jaylon and Connor. And how you boys doing tonight?
I'm doing quite swell. I don't know about that game last night, but other than that, it's a pretty good day. That game was horrible.
That might have been the worst football game I've ever watched in the NFL. I can't lie.
Snooze fest.
In the first half, there were 5 straight 3-and-outs.
It was miserable. It was like they choose the worst games for Thursday Night Football as of now. I mean, next week we got Bears versus Commanders. Like, can we pick up a little bit?
It's just like normally on like Sunday when there's the bad game, you just switch to the other channel and there's a better game. But on Thursday night, you're just stuck here watching the punters see who can punt farther, and it's kind of a bad look on the NFL, I want to say.
I think it is too.
Out of the game, when the game ended, the only thing anyone was talking about was how bad the game was to watch.
You know it's a bad game when the only highlights are the kickers.
Oh my goodness, most definitely.
I mean, I think the biggest highlight was Russell Wilson missing his receiver in the final play of the game. Yeah. Him looking off an open receiver, like that was the play that was circling around everywhere after the game.
Yeah, I mean, you looking at the offseason moves both teams did to get these high-level quarterbacks, and both 2 interceptions against each other. I mean, it doesn't look like a really great move so far this season.
Well, how about their head coach? Because their head coach looks absolutely terrible.
Nathaniel Hackett might have been the worst hire this season.
He looks like he's in over his head a little bit. His philosophy, I feel like, keeps changing. And I really don't understand what he's trying to do with this offense of the Broncos.
I feel like he's just scrambling to survive right now, and he's just like he knows all the pressure's on him. But before I go down that road, I still want to talk about like Russell Wilson. You like went to the Super Bowl, 4th and 1. Did you not learn anything?
Run the ball.
Like what happened?
Run the ball.
I mean, you got Melvin Gordon line back there. You got to at least do something. Read option would have worked.
In his defense, Melvin Gordon does have a history of fumbling.
That is true.
Yeah.
As someone, he's done it once this year already, and as a Chargers fan last season or 2 seasons ago, he fumbled on the 1-yard line in a regular season game too. So he does have a little bit of rotation of fumbling on the goal line.
It's that was pretty bad. I'm sorry. That just and also just I know I was upset watching that, but how about Richard Sherman after the game, first game press conference, like just him getting visibly upset, just like and another thing, like apparently, I think Nathaniel Hackett said this in the post-game press conference, but he called a running play. Like the head coach, he actually, I know we're giving him like kind of some like just punching the bag at him a little bit, but apparently he called,
as we should.
Yeah, he's well deserved, but apparently called a running play, and Russell Wilson goes to the huddle and changes it to a passing play, and so I have a lot of questions on Russell Wilson right now. I'm not feeling the let's ride. I'm actually getting off the horse on that. So I don't know.
I think the play call was the right call because he had the receiver.
He
open.
did. It was a great play call.
The receiver is open on the play,
That
so
is true.
I don't think we can knock the play because I feel like if the Broncos run it on 3rd and 4th down, like in this hypothetical, they run on 3rd and 4th down and they don't convert and they turn over. What are we saying about the coach then? We're saying on 2 straight plays, you don't let Russell Wilson throw the ball on the goal line. So I feel like it's a little bit of like, I'm forgetting the word, of just like playing the hypothetical of like they should have run the ball because he didn't convert on the open receiver.
Like a little bit of what if.
Yeah, the what if game. That's what I was thinking of.
So I mean, as we're talking right now, when you look at like the Philadelphia Eagles or like some other team that was in on the Russell Wilson trade, it must feel pretty great to not have traded all them picks for Russell Wilson.
I'm pretty sure they're very happy with where they are.
It's kind of insane to think that the Eagles were like talking about trading for a quarterback, seeing how good Jalen Hurts is playing this year.
Jalen Hurts for Russell Wilson. Imagine that. That would be the worst thing ever.
I mean, like, not to even mention that, like, Jalen Hurts, like, you don't even have to. I think when's his contract up? I think it's at the end of next year. I think
next year, yes, but I think they're going to be looking for extension talks.
Yeah, they better.
They have to. He's been amazing this year.
I don't think he's going to get Russell Wilson money.
He might. Russell Wilson. I mean, he's looked horrible.
It's like he probably is the front runner for MVP right now.
Maybe not. I don't know.
He's undefeated, so that's why
I would say he's the front runner for the MVP right now.
I think he's behind Lamar and Josh Allen just a little bit, but I think he will they'll take that step.
I think the
Yeah.
undefeated status kind of puts them up there.
But like
in my mind.
like we talked about a little bit before the show, like they are having like you look at their playoff schedule. I mean, you look at the regular season schedule. It's not that difficult. Like I mean, like it's
They play, I think, as 2 playoff teams
Yeah.
for the rest of the
so
season.
he might get a little something for that. But I don't think anything should be counted against him. But I'm saying some people
You don't
might.
choose who you play against.
Right,
As
exactly.
much as these players, they don't get to choose who they play against, so we can't really hold that against them too hard. But the schedule is definitely looking his way for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go back on topic with the Broncos and Colts game. Stephon Gilmore, I think he's back at his elite level. What would you rank him cornerback wise? Is he top 5 for you?
cornerback?
Yes.
Oh no, I don't think so.
No, really.
No, I don't think so.
He could be. I think he can be a 1 corner on a good defense still. He's still not as good as he was in his defensive player of the year season back with the Patriots. I can remember as a Patriots fan, back when the Patriots traded him away, I can remember seeing him play. I'm like, it's going to hurt because he's going to go play somewhere and he's going to be really good.
Yeah.
And I knew, and then just the timetable didn't work with the Patriots, the money, they don't like
I
paying.
didn't understand it wasn't his fault. Didn't mean to cut you off, but I didn't.
No.
It's not his fault. But I didn't really understand the whole Panthers year. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I don't know if he
It definitely was a
after
weird
that.
year.
Yeah, but he would have to approve on that trade, like his agent, or to
Yeah, he approved.
Yeah.
I might be wrong. I think he's from the area.
Oh, that's
So I think
hometown?
that was part of it.
Okay.
He
Yes,
went back.
That makes sense.
I did remember seeing
I
something
think
about
he's
that.
from the area, so that was part of the appeal of
Makes
playing with
sense.
the Panthers. But he definitely looks like that high caliber player that he was.
Yes, and speaking of defense, the Broncos pass rush also looked pretty good last night. I mean, they had 4 sacks.
Yeah,
Bradley Chubb had 2.5. I mean,
they
I
got
don't-
me 13 points in fantasy. Pretty good. I'll take
To
it.
be fair, it's a little easier to get sacks on a quarterback like Matt Ryan.
That
Somebody
is
who
true.
just sits in the pocket.
What happened to the Colts offensive
I don't know,
Because
man.
It used to be so good.
line? I feel bad for Matt Ryan because he's finally probably like, yes, I finally have a great O line, like just all superstars everywhere, and then he just looked terrible.
Let me ask you this: do you think Frank Reich is on the hot seat right now?
Oh, absolutely. Or actually, you know what? I think they'll probably
Not
give
sure.
him one more year if they get a quarterback. Because I think Jim Irsay is an owner that doesn't want to isn't going to give up on someone unless he isn't with it. And I feel like I still feel like he's close to Frank Reich. I don't know. But I feel like he would give Frank Reich one more year if they drafted a quarterback.
I
Because
think the problem is the quarterback.
Yeah.
Like,
It
the problem-
definitely
I think
is.
it's been like 5 straight years of a different starting quarterback every year.
yeah.
And you can't blame the coach for that kind of personnel change year in, year out. Like,
Yeah, that
there's-
is true.
in order to be a good team, you need to build culture around a team, and your leader is your quarterback. So when you're bringing in a new one every single year, it's impossible to build anything.
Yeah, if I'm the Colts right now, I mean, I kind of would start the tanking. I mean, not like I think it's
Not
still
just
kinda
yet.
early,
Not just yet.
But I'm saying if you have a chance to get if you've been in this quarterback carousel and you have a chance to get one of these top quarterbacks like C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, quarterback from Kentucky.
Mhm.
I'm blanking on his name right now.
Oh, Will Levis.
Yeah, Will Levis. He's looked really nice, by the way. But I said go ahead and do it. Like, I mean, like if you're the Commanders, like one of these teams have got when are they going to break the wheel of these quarterbacks like carousel? I mean, like just I would tank, and that's all I'm saying.
That is true. I mean, the Colts do need.
It's early for the Colts. I meant more for the Commanders. I don't believe.
Okay,
it.
yeah. I do agree with that. But
Yeah.
I think if the Colts keep losing, then yes, because you can't win with Matt Ryan or a new quarterback every other year they sign.
You really can't. I like in the NFL, I think it's different than other sports. Where, like the idea of like tanking, I feel like it's less of like trying to lose and more of trying to put younger guys in at your quarterback
Yeah,
position.
and that's what.
And the problem is the Colts, they don't have their backup quarterback's Nick Foles. So it's like if you want to
Hey.
start like trying to like to
Nick
see how
Foles
their
has done
offense-
some things.
No, I know, but like if you're talking about the long-term future of your franchise,
Right.
you're not gonna bench Matt Ryan to put Nick Foles in to see if like that's where you're gonna be going for the future.
Right.
Which is it's kind of problematic because there's not really a direct way to go about this season now.
And plus, you're playing Matt Ryan all that money too, so you're not gonna money wins in the end.
The
How
direction of
usually-
the Colts, it's kind of foggy right now, which way they want to go. I feel like.
How funny is it that right when Carson Wentz gets traded out of Indianapolis, hey Nick Foles, you want to come sign with us?
That's kind
I
of
mean,
It's
it's like another shot at Carson Wentz.
funny. I mean, honestly, not to like go off, but hopefully Carson. I think we've probably seen the end of Carson starting.
This might be the last year he's starting. He's a starting
agree.
quarterback. I mean, you can say people were saying that like the Eagles situation with the Eagles was the problem. Doug Peterson, the conflict there. But then to try it now on two separate teams that have gone out on a limb to try to bring you in and to not perform.
Yeah,
It's sadly, I feel like this is the last year we're seeing him in the starting job.
and it's crazy that even during that Super Bowl run, like there was rumors coming out of the locker room that he was complaining because he wasn't. And this is when Nick Foles took the like helm.
He wasn't getting that spotlight.
Yeah, exactly, and he was upset and he was going around complaining to his teammates. And then apparently, I think it was Darren Sproles who confronted him about it. And then that's when the whole media, the reports got hold of it, and they were questioning his leadership.
Oh,
And ever
I did
since
not know
then-
that.
I remember that was like the messiest offseason after that because it was
Yep.
like the Eagles had Carson Wentz, who should have like an MVP, and then you have this guy who just won the Super Bowl for you, Nick Foles.
Right.
And I can just remember that offseason, everyone like speculating about what's going on in the locker room,
I
who's the
think it,
leader.
Loki got that locker room got divided too because
I
Alshon
agree.
Jeffrey he also said the same thing. He was not a huge fan of Carson Wentz, but hopefully I'm not one to root against people, but hopefully Carson Wentz figures it out.
All right, it is time for us to take a break. We'll be right back talking about more NFL. We'll review some games from last week and then get into who our division winners we're thinking the favorites are for this season. This is 90.7 The Caps on the team section.
WVUA-FM, Tuscaloosa.
And we are back with 90.7 The Capstone. This is the student section. And I think it's time we talk about some of these division leaders. We've had, 4 good weeks of football so far. We're going into week 5. And I think that the standings are kind of starting to shift out a little bit. We can kind of see where things are going to end up. And I think we should talk about the AFC first, just because the NFC is a little more bland. Let's be real.
Yeah.
I 100% agree with you there.
So I think the most controversial division, I would say, in the AFC has been the AFC North so far.
I agree. That's gonna be
That's all over the
that's
place.
gonna be a hard division to win, just because all the teams are mediocre.
The Ravens definitely should be, I would say, should be the best team in that division, but they haven't quite played to the level that we expect them to.
No, they have not.
John Harbaugh hasn't been coaching like we expected him to.
Not at all. He's been a little underwhelming. I'm not gonna hold you.
But I'm not gonna lie, that was disappointing to see. Ravens should have honestly won that game.
They should have. Lamar
They
Jackson.
definitely should have won that game.
He. I forget. I don't remember who the wide receiver was, but he was wide open in the back of the end zone, running a corner out.
Was it Mark Andrews?
No, it wasn't Mark Andrews. It might have been either. I think it was Rashad Bateman or Devin Duvernay, but he just looked too late, and Jordan Poyer was able to react and pick it off.
He's been
So
playing out of his mind this year.
he has, and he needs to play like that a lot more with Micah Hyde being out for a while.
You think he's up for in conversation with defensive player, or would you not go that far?
I wouldn't go that
That's
far.
understandable.
It's hard to say defensive player so early in the year where you have to maintain such a
Right.
high level. Like there was last year, I just remember the Patriots, Matthew Judon had 9 sacks in
Mhm.
9
Oh yeah, that
games.
is true.
And
Yeah.
then he just proceeded to not touch
Fall
the
off.
quarterback for 8 straight
Or
weeks.
Chandler Jones, week 1, had 5 or 6 sacks.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
defensive player of the year, it's a lot of it is about sustainability over a whole season.
Now, do you think Darius Slay could win Defensive Player of the Year?
He could.
He's been
a lot
locking
of
up
these
these
players
wide
have
receivers.
potential. Like the defensive player of the year, I feel like there's always a ton of players that have the potential
Mhm.
and honestly have the talent. It's just kind of how the counting stats add up for the end of the season.
I agree with that. I think we should revisit this a little bit later. in the
That is
season.
true.
Let's definitely. So,
Do you still want to stay on the AFC North? Because I think the Bengals are going to probably win the division. If I had,
I'm going Bengals as well.
Yeah, because I think they're like I said. I think last week we said they only have the left tackle coming back from last season, so it's still taking time to form chemistry. And I think we saw last week when they played. They got that win. Who did they play?
The Dolphins.
The Dolphins. Yeah, we saw it start to come together.
Yeah,
So-
I definitely agree. I remember during the offseason, I said this last week, but Joe Burrow, he had his offseason elbow surgery, and he missed training camp and preseason. So it's definitely good to see him knock that rust off and get get a good game under his belt.
I agree. I think that the Bengals will probably win that.
You got the
division.
Bengals?
I
Okay.
would say the Bengals as well. I
No.
mean, the Steelers aren't even in that talk. I would say.
That's what I was about to ask you. Do you have them making like not the playoffs? I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. But do you think they're going to be like still a competitive team? Not like really.
No.
Like
I think Mike Tomlin's a good enough coach where like they're gonna be scrappy and
That's
they're
what
gonna
I'm
be in
thinking, too.
games.
I don't think they're gonna like. I think now that they started Kenny Pickett, that's one of the things
That
we
was
touched on a couple
surprising.
of weeks ago. How long is it going to take before we saw Kenny Pickett? And I think we're at that point. I think the team gave up on Mitchell Trubisky.
As they should, because
And,
he was not good.
Yeah,
I think Kenny Pickett. I think that was like the least concerned I've ever been about a quarterback throwing 3 picks.
Yeah, exactly.
Like he threw those 3 picks and like I think they were kind of iffy picks. They were like
but they still almost won too.
they weren't like that big. Like to me those 3 picks were not that big of a deal, which is so obscure to say because
Mhm.
3 turnovers is like
3 turnovers
should be a big deal.
So let's move on from the AFC North, and who do you have winning the AFC East?
That's a tough one because we don't even know what the situation is with Tua.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say I feel like a
Um,
lot of it is about how long Tua's out for.
And like we covered last week, like the NFL just messed up on that part.
For sure.
So hopefully Tua gets better, and hopefully he's all right and he's still able to play. But I'm still going to take the Bills out of this division. I think there's 3-1, and you got to ask me about the Jets or the Patriots, who I like more out of those teams. I like neither, so I'm going to stick with the Bills, and then
I don't hate what I've
Yeah.
seen from the Patriots these last 2 weeks. The offense has looked a little bit better. A
Yeah.
third string quarterback and almost beating Aaron Rodgers is
Bailey
I
Zappe.
feel like an achievement in its own. So I wouldn't write them off completely from having an all right season, but they're definitely not in the contention for the win.
right.
With Tua out for the Dolphins, I think there was some report from like a CTE expert like suggesting he retires from football.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
because
saw
it was
that.
that bad of a hit. That
Mhm.
makes me concerned.
Exactly.
Just for his safety as a person. as
Oh,
well.
most definitely.
And I would just hate to see anything happen. So I feel like the Bills is just the safest pick.
And I think he's seeking outside advice because I wouldn't trust anybody from the NFL after that. So
Oh yeah, I don't know how I'd feel after the last NFL doctor said I was just a back injury when I could barely
it's a
walk.
pretty bad look when the doctor immediately gets fired after
Mhm.
giving you a diagnosis. Like that does not make me feel comfortable
yeah,
with the doctor.
But I definitely agree with y'all. I think the Bills are the safest pick.
yeah, 100%. And just to touch one more thing on the concussion. Hopefully Naheem Hines is all right. Just want to
Yes,
say that.
yes.
Hopefully he's
Prayers
okay.
up for Naheem.
Hopefully they
Hines.
take their time.
Yeah.
He doesn't rush back onto the field and then get the second hit that Tua got.
Let's learn from your
It's
mistakes.
been happening too much this season. T. Higgins out with a concussion first week, plays week 2.
Mm-hmm.
Tua Tagovailoa can barely walk, but he's then able to play 4 days later, and then is hospitalized with a concussion. And now Naheem Hines can barely walk. So
And speaking of Naheem Hines and the Colts, the AFC South, who do you guys have coming out of that division? Because you got the Colts,
Jaguars.
Jags. Oh, the Jags. You like? Okay.
I love the
So you're
Jaguars.
high on Doug Peterson and that
I am,
offense.
I am.
I'm also kind of high on their defense. It looked like when they played the Eagles, that first half looks like if they can get it together,
Mhm.
because that first half for a little bit when they took the 14-0 lead, they looked pretty good. So, but
I feel like I feel like in that division, I think it has to be the Jaguars. I don't have a lot of confidence in any of the teams in there. The Texans have obviously waved the white flag for the season. They're kind of toast.
oh, I think they're going for a top quarterback pick. They want or Will Anderson. I think. But
One of the two,
Yeah.
but I think they're going to go quarterback. I mean, Davis Mills has looked probably like one of the best quarterbacks out of the last draft class.
but not someone
But,
you would
yeah,
make
no.
your franchise. Okay,
No.
that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Titans, I don't really know. I think they're. I'm waiting. Honestly, I'm waiting for them to put Malik Willis. I wouldn't be surprised if they snuck around, and then playoff Derrick Henry maybe gets activated or something. They go on a little run. Yeah, but I don't even think they're gonna make the playoffs.
I really don't see it.
I don't see it
the
happening.
receiving core is just it's
not good.
it's really bad.
And your first round draft pick, Traylon Burks, just went out.
I think it was turf toe.
Just turfed out.
I think
Okay.
so. I think I saw something about that.
Robert Woods, he really doesn't look the same
After
with
the
after that
ACL.
ACL. It's not the same Robert Woods we saw with the Rams.
Mm-mm.
That team is just so heavily dependent on Derrick Henry, and he just isn't performing at the same level he was, which is kind of normal for running backs.
Yeah.
You normally get 2 or 3 years where they look like the best player in the league, and then it kind of
Yeah, we knew it was coming. We just
Yeah.
didn't know when. But
Yeah.
you can't have that big of a workload. and not expect a tail off.
And especially if you're coming back from like an injury like that he came suffered. What is it?
It was his neck, right?
No, it was his foot. I
It
think
was his foot.
But now we get to probably the. Well, we all thought it was probably.
We all thought it was gonna be the best division,
Yeah.
but
So-
it does not look so.
I would
like that.
still say it's the best division in football.
No.
No,
You don't think so?
I would still say it's the best division. I mean, there's not a lot of divisions have two good teams.
I kind of like the NFC North.
I like the NFC East.
Oh well, that is competitive too. But we'll get to that. But
Yeah, we'll get to that when we get to the
AFC
NFC.
West, yeah, I think we're all gonna rock with the Chiefs.
Yes,
That-
Chiefs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean
pretty
the
much.
Chiefs are still my Super Bowl pick for
Yeah.
the season. They haven't showed me anything too convincing that.
And you have them going to the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, they're my. I think the Chiefs are my Super Bowl from the AFC. I still think the offense is still looking beautiful without Tyreek, and they got that in the bag.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I like just Chiefs. I don't think there's much more to say.
Yeah, no, well, Chiefs.
Yeah,
I think there's 3 playoff teams in that division.
There might be.
I
if they
think the
can turn
Raiders
it
are still
around.
gonna find a way.
You do?
I
You're still
believe.
hot.
I believe in the Raiders.
It is really early.
It's still
but
early. But
I don't
they
It's
know.
got
still early.
chemistry.
It's still
A lot
early.
of pieces that came over.
New coach. I feel like it's gonna. I feel like they're gonna figure it out.
If they don't, are you firing Josh McDaniels? If they don't make the playoffs,
It's hard because I feel like a lot of these times the like snap judgment is to fire the coach, but I feel like
Exactly.
the 1 year coach stint it doesn't always give the coach like a good enough time to set up like the system they want. Because as of now, people are saying like they're still adjusting to the system, the Mike McDaniel system. So it's kind of difficult to like then judge like how poor of a coach he is or how like complicated the system he's trying to place, and if they keep it for next year, if that could like improve the team.
yeah, I'm actually gonna say I hope they keep him. I think if what we've been hearing about Josh McDaniels from all these years, I know like he's very like talented, then I think you should not give up on that talent yet. I think a lot of people give up on the talent before they figure out what they want to do, you know?
For sure.
So
I think they made a mistake, the Raiders, with their head coaching hire. I think they should have kept their interim
Rich.
head coach as from last year. Rich, I can't say that last name.
Malagiato.
Bisca, yeah, that. But
I know that was not right. It was I can't say it. Biscottiata.
I'm sorry, but no, yeah, I think they should have kept him
Biscotti.
instead of
Yes.
Jaden McDaniel Jaden McDaniel.
Mhm.
But I mean, the whole locker room was behind that guy, and I feel like you just let him walk, even though he led you to the playoffs. It's a bad look, but I mean, hopefully McDaniels can turn it around.
And apparently he was well respected in that locker room. Like he was a player's coach apparently.
They ended the season 5-2, got into the playoffs. I was a little surprised when they didn't want to bring him back.
Mhm.
I can't lie. It feels like when you switch the head coach and a new guy comes in and then it kind of like clicks a little bit better. Normally, I feel like you'd want to then stick with the guy that you made it click with.
Yeah. So moving on to the NFC, we're going to talk about the NFC East. Who do you have coming out of that division?
First off, everyone wants to say that the NFC East is terrible. But guess which division has the most wins right now?
The NFC East.
Yep.
We went from the NFC Least to the NFC Beast.
I
saw that.
I
and
wouldn't
had to
say
say
that.
it.
I wouldn't say that yet. I still wouldn't say that. The Giants are yet to play like a good team.
Yeah.
I feel like to get a good win. The Commanders are awful, and I'm not sold on the Cowboys. I think they're gonna get their ass handed to them by the Rams.
But you never know. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually kind of high on the Cowboys.
I'm
You don't want to know why? Because everyone's usually hyping up the Cowboys. No one's talking about the Cowboys. Dak is out. I think they have no pressure on them right now.
that is true.
I think the only one with pressure on themselves is Mike McCarthy.
I think Dak Prescott has pressure on him now with Cooper Rush performing the way he
Well, I
is.
was about to say that might be the only pressure is like when Dak comes back that he might like ruin the chemistry. But I don't believe that because I think Dak's gonna try to make it work. And I don't think he's gonna win it. But we'll see what happens.
I think the
That team's
Rams,
flowing
after
right now.
losing a high emotion game against a rival, the 49ers, there was a lot going on in that game. You saw Jalen Ramsey; he was kind of pushing people around. There was a lot of emotion in that game. Obviously they lose that game, but then you get to be home against the Cowboys, a game that they're gonna take. Everyone wants to beat the Cowboys because they get like nominated as America's team
Yeah, it's
every single
Dallas.
year. So they're obviously
You got
gonna
Stephen
want
A.
they're gonna want to beat the Cowboys. So
Right.
they're gonna go out there and perform. So I really think the Rams are just gonna destroy destroy the Cowboys.
But I think we can all agree the Eagles are going to win this division
easily.
I want to say yes, and I think the Eagles. My hot take for the season was the Eagles might go undefeated just based on the regular season schedule. If you actually look at the schedule, it's like we talked about earlier. It's not that impossible. They only really play like 2 playoff teams, as we mentioned earlier. But like I said, Dallas Cowboys are just under the radar right now. No one's talking about them. No one's no media pressure.
We'll see after this weekend.
Yeah, I think.
After this weekend will prove a lot.
Yeah, we'll see what happens though. But I know you're interested with the NFC East, but I really like the NFC North just because I do too. I like Minnesota. I like the Packers. And then the Lions would just make things interesting. I'm not saying they're good, but
it's the Hard Knocks love. I feel like it's part of it. Like a lot of football culture, just because they were on the Hard Knocks, they have this like crazy offense kind of that puts up crazy points. I feel like a lot of people kind of attach themselves to like the Lions. It's like a feel good team.
That does usually happen too. But I mean, I don't know about you guys, but Packers don't look impressive at all so far this season. Bears are the Bears. Justin Fields might be the worst quarterback in the league.
Yeah, I said earlier, like I'm high on Justin Fields, and I'm high, but not as much. He needs to learn how to read defense.
Justin Fields looks abysmal, and I think the Bears are the worst team in that division. The Packers really don't look the same. And never will I put my confidence in a Kirk Cousins-led offense.
I do think the Vikings are going to win this division.
I think so too. And plus, they haven't even been using Dalvin Cook like really as much. But one thing I do want to say about the Packers, Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs have slowly looking like a little bit better.
I do like what I'm seeing from Romeo Doubs.
Romeo Doubs is looking like a legit wide receiver.
I like that. Rodgers, I feel like, is also putting him in more positions to make plays.
Right.
And kind of trusting him in that role a little more, which is good to see for the Packers offense.
Mm-hmm. And then NFC South, Bucks. I don't even think we have to talk really about the rest of the division.
Well, okay, but actually we should talk about the Saints because the Saints, they have not looked that impressive. And you could say, oh, we should tank. They don't have a first-round pick, so they're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Also, just really, their first-round pick is right now to the Eagles. So right now the Eagles are undefeated and have a top 5 pick projected as of right now. Pretty impressive stuff.
It is.
Howie Roseman is a legend.
Big recovery. And then NFC West, that's an interesting run. I'm actually going to go probably with Rams out of this division, out of the NFC West.
Really? I'm going 49ers.
Yeah, I think the Rams are going to get it together.
I'm gonna lean toward the 49ers. I like both those teams. I think the Rams are a wild card, probably the best wild card team to sneak in, or not sneak in, just the highest ranked wild card team. And I think the 49ers probably win that division.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I got 49ers just because Rams Super Bowl hangover is looking like a real hangover.
I just trust Matthew Stafford more than I trust Jimmy G.
I don't know. Matthew Stafford has looked pretty mid so far.
If they can make the playoffs, wait till playoff Matt Stafford. He's gonna break every bone in his shoulder, but he'll fight through it.
All right, this is 90.7 The Capstone, the student section. We'll be back right after a quick break.
WVUA-FM, Tuscaloosa.
And we're back with 90.3 The Capstone. This is the student section with Brady, Connor, and Jaylon. And just to finish up our NFL segment here, we'll talk about our locks and upsets for this upcoming week.
Well, I guess I'll start it off. All right. So I'm going to go for my lock, the Jags over the Texans. Why the Jags over the Texans? I feel like I don't have to explain myself here. We all know that the Texans have not won a game, and they tied one, credit to them, but they have not won. So, yeah, they just look terrible. They need a lot of work. Davis Mills isn't really, he's okay, but he's not looking like a franchise quarterback. The Jags, on the other hand, I think they're going to have a recovery game against that Eagles team because that was a tough game for them, especially with that weather. I don't think they'll have to deal with a massive rain. And plus, I still like Doug Peterson, what he's doing. Trevor Lawrence looks like, besides last week, Trevor Lawrence looks like he's been getting better. And I think they have like a top offense. And then my upset, pretty much going to keep it simple. I'm going to go Raiders against the Chiefs, pretty much because.
Simple.
Yep.
It is simple.
It's a very simple pick.
A casual, just the Raiders casually going to go out and beat the Chiefs.
Just because like that's the most Raiders thing ever. So, yeah, those are my locks and my upset. What about you, Connor?
So my lock is Vikings over Bears.
Okay.
Bears have looked not good this season. Justin Fields looks like maybe the worst quarterback in football.
Yep.
And the Vikings, they have a great offense with, Kirk Cousins. Yes, it's Kirk
not a
Cousins.
primetime game. It's not a
It's not a primetime game. So Kirk Cousins
might play well.
might play like an MVP, like Michael Irvin said. But you got Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, you got Dalvin Cook. They're gonna get them involved. Bears, they can't do anything. My upset, prepare for this. Giants over the Packers.
I'm going to need some explaining.
Packers have looked not good at all. God awful. They can't score. Their offense looks entirely mid. Giants, yes, Daniel Jones looks really bad, but Saquon looks healthy. Brian Dable has a team around their back. Is it Dexter Lawrence, right? Dexter Lawrence.
Yep.
He looks
Good.
like he's doing really good. They just had Landon Collins back. I don't know if he'll play this week, but it's looking like a pretty good trap game for the Packers right now. What about you, Brady? What are your locks and upsets?
Lock of the week, 49ers over the Panthers. Baker Mayfield had probably one of the worst games I've seen last weekend. It was abysmal. I think the 49ers have a great defense.
I'm off the Baker train.
Off the Baker train.
I was never on the Baker train.
I think,
Wow, lucky you.
like we were talking about Carson Wentz, Baker, this might also be his last year in a starting job.
Yeah. I think he'll get one more shot, but
No.
Maybe.
I think he'll get one more shot to compete for a starting.
Maybe
Compete,
compete.
maybe, yes.
It could be like
Let
the
me
Mitch
rephrase
Trubisky,
that.
like bring
Yeah.
in and then like see what happens with the young guy. But I think this is like it. I think the 49ers will win that game. And then the upset, for some reason, Seattle is not favored against the Saints. I don't understand. To me, the Saints have not looked very good in my eyes. And Seattle, Geno Smith, say what you want. The memes, he's completing over 70%
They
of his
wrote me off,
passes.
but I ain't right back.
He did not write back, and he has looked like an absolute dog. He's, in all legitimacy, playing like one of the best quarterbacks in the NFC.
Geno
like,
Smith
top
is
three.
outplaying Russell Wilson.
I
Who
mean,
would
yeah,
have thought
look at
that?
that trade.
The Seahawks got to steal that trade.
They
I'm not gonna.
stole.
They
Beef.
they traded their second best quarterback on the roster for a bunch of assets, then put their real best quarterback in the starting lineup, and now I'm ready for this season. So I like Seattle over the Saints.
They had a plan all along, and they just hoodwinked everybody.
They knew what they were doing all right from the start. But I feel like now it's time to talk about the big news that broke today. For the audio listeners who are not aware, there was a physical altercation, as it was first reported, between Draymond Green and Jordan Poole. Earlier today, TMZ got a hold of the actual video of the physical altercation, which was really just Draymond Green winding up and sucker punching Jordan Poole in the face.
Jordan Poole wasn't even ready for it, wasn't even expecting it, and he dropped.
His knees crumple.
He was knocked out, and then Draymond Green continued to get over him, and then they had to be separated. But if I may, I just gotta my opinion on this whole matter. When it first came out, I thought it was like, okay, Draymond being Draymond.
Yeah, that's what he
of
does.
course.
He gets in guys'
And then
faces,
you
he
see-
riles up.
Exactly.
You see the video.
And then you see the video, and you're like, oh my God, this is what is disgusting. But that's not only the video is it disgusting, but someone dropped that video on purpose. And what that means is Draymond Green has been negotiating ever since the offseason started for a max contract extension. I think someone leaked that. I don't have any sources on this, but I think someone leaked that video on purpose to help either say like, hey, if they do extend Draymond Green, it's not going to be what he wants for the amount he's worth, because he's heard it just by that video. Or this is a perfect reason, because I don't think chemistry is going to be the same. I don't think you can recover after that. But I know Steve Kerr got punched by Michael Jordan, but Steve Kerr, as I remember, got like a black eye and he wasn't knocked out. So I don't think when you get knocked out, it's a whole different type of like mentality. So I just think that chemistry won't be the same. So this might be a reason where we don't see Draymond Green on the Warriors in a couple, maybe the end of the year. Who
Also,
knows?
Michael Jordan is Michael Jordan.
Yeah,
He's the best
exactly.
player of
it's
all
not
time.
Draymond
Yeah,
Green,
like,
who's
it's like
I-
if
and
Michael
yeah.
Jordan punches Steve Kerr, it's like, what you gonna do? Trade Michael Jordan?
Yeah.
away?
No,
Like,
that's-
you can't do that.
Draymond Green, who can't score the basketball.
Yeah, but I'd say that because we know he's that heart of that team.
He is
that absolute.
And he's
That
important.
heart might have been ripped out after punching Jordan Poole like that, though.
It might have been, but he's the Patrick Beverly times 10 for that team.
I think that part of it is we can't know how this affected the chemistry of the team and the locker room. Like, we can speculate that like it's gonna ruin everything, but for all we know, like the guy they've already
sweep it on the
they've
rug.
already sweep it under the rug and they're moving on to the next. It's all about I feel like it's about how Jordan Poole reacts to this, which I feel like it's kind of valid if he was like, hey, I don't really want to play with Draymond Green, and how the rest of the locker room reacts to how this all went down.
Well, the reason I say it's going to affect the team is because when Draymond Green got in Kevin Durant's face, what happened there? I think that
He checked out.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you look at that
last
that last season with Kevin Durant there. The last half of that season, he was not fully into it.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. And that was just from getting in his face.
And that's the thing. Yeah, exactly.
Not knocking him out.
He talked to Kevin Durant. He punched Jordan Poole.
Yeah.
That's a big difference.
And I know if like if I was on, like if one of y'all punched me and knocks me out, like I'm not like I want to be professional, you know, but I'm gonna be sitting over here like, oh, why I oughta, like, you know, like an old Popeye kind of thought, but like,
and even but like, you look at the video too, like they're just kind of like barking back and forth. Like, I mean, if I played pickup ball. And you talk to each other. There's some smack talk going around. Like sometimes tempers get high, but like if someone punches someone, the game kind of ends.
And what's so strange is when they're talking, if you look at the video, none of their teammates is even looking at.
When the punch,
it's like
when the punch
normal.
happens, like there's like two teammates that run over.
Yeah,
and then I think it's Jonathan Kuminga is standing like right there.
He was
kind of
shocked.
just, like his hands are on his hips, and he's just like staying there watching this happen, like kind of in like disbelief.
That's what I'm saying.
Draymond did that.
I think like a lot of because people thought it was normal. It was normal
because it kind of is for Draymond.
Yeah, exactly. And then he just comes over and it's pop, and then everyone just rushes over. I don't know. But I don't want to spend too much time on that because I'm kind of disappointed with Draymond.
I am too. I think he might get cut or get traded.
He's not getting cut.
I don't think he gets cut. He's too important.
I think
there might be
I think there's trade value there.
Yeah,
I think you can. I think you can move him. I think part of the problem is he is very essential for the way that the Warriors kind of run their offense.
He is.
But that's all another thing. Draymond Green, like before, I think it was before this offseason started, he's said he's open to playing for his hometown Detroit Pistons. So this might be a transition period. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Okay, I just realized this. Michigan State, Draymond Green punched Michigan Jordan Poole.
That's what I'm saying.
There might have been a little rivalry there to begin with.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe that's actually what started the trash talk.
My favorite, someone was joking on Twitter saying that Jordan Poole looked at him and called him Mr. Triple Single, and then Draymond had nothing, came over and knocked him out. But I think the interesting part is how TMZ got a hold of the video.
That's what I'm
and what
saying.
the motives was behind the video getting
Because
released.
someone did that on purpose to send a message.
There is some reason behind that.
Or money, but most likely someone, if you're in that position and you're willing to go, like face, like they're pursuing legal action. So if you're willing to do that, that means you're not really doing it, in my opinion, maybe for the money. So
I feel like the video being, because I remember seeing ESPN videos a lot of times after like the initial report came out, people were kind of like saying, well, Draymond's being Draymond, you know, like it's kind of, that's what he does. But I feel like the fact that there's the video, it puts into perspective like how kind of different it was than just a physical altercation.
Yeah, no,
and that's
the Twitter made it sound a lot better than the video was.
For sure.
And that's probably what they wanted. But so I'm gonna keep my eyes on the Warriors. But do you guys have any other teams you're keeping your eyes on, or any teams that you're kind of maybe super excited for, or not so for sure, but you see the potential maybe of something brewing, like the Cavs, for instance?
I like the Rockets.
Really?
Yeah, I think they have a lot of young talent. I don't think they're going to be great this year.
You think they're going to compete for a playoff spot?
No, no, they might compete for a play-in, but in the next upcoming years,
not in the West.
Not
in the West. They're not competing for a play in the West.
Making the playoffs.
No, the Kings are. I don't think the Kings are better than the Rockets. I mean, if Jabari plays away, Jabari played in that first preseason game, then it's gonna be a hard team to not say, hey, they might make a play-in spot and might be the Cavs of last year.
Because Jabari, I think people in the summer league, I think overreacted to how like kind of poorly Jabari kind of played. But I think the way Jabari plays, he kind of needs like a point guard to kind of set him up.
He does, yeah.
His handle isn't quite there yet, which is okay at someone his size, and he'll learn to do that. But now that he has Jaylon Green and Wait, what's the other guard?
Kevin Porter.
Kevin Porter
Yeah.
Jr. Thank you, Kevin Porter Jr.
He's like
the
the point guard, but not really a point guard. He's
I
like
know.
a scoring.
But like
Yeah.
now that he has kind of those two to play alongside of him, I feel like it's gonna be a lot easier for him to get the shots off that he wants.
Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely.
The team that I'm a little biased, but the team I'm interested in to see is the Portland Trailblazers.
Okay.
Because I feel
Oh,
like
yeah, that's gonna be
there's
a
some
good team.
Dame bounce back. They kind of revamped the entire roster.
They made
It's
some
like-
low-key moves too, like
Jeremy Grant. I think
Jeremy
he
Grant
was
looked
big
great
up.
in his
Yeah.
first preseason game.
Gary
I loved
Payton.
what I saw. I think that
Chauncey Billups. I'm really excited to see what Chauncey Billups does.
Anthony Simons, I think he
Oh, he's a
has
star.
I think he
Star
legitimately
making.
could be an all-star.
I do too.
He should-
I don't know about.
I have him in the
all-star.
same category as Tyrese Maxey.
No.
I really do.
I-
Because Tyrese Maxey is a scorer, but Anthony Simons, I don't think he's gotten as much like.
He's a shooter.
Yeah.
He can shoot the ball
Yeah. He's a-
incredibly well. from
He can
three.
shoot like he can shoot
Lights
lights out.
Yeah, he said this goal before his season is to make the all-star team, and I don't think he will make it, but I believe he has that potential. I think he's a scoring guard that can, once he develops, he'll be able to just get create his own shot and shoot the ball.
I don't think there's much difference between him and CJ. Like I really don't. Like I think they moved off CJ
Yeah,
to the
exactly.
Pelicans because they knew that Simons was going to be able to step into that role.
And I don't remember when Anthony Simons declared for the draft. He declared early too.
Yeah, he's like a really young
really
player.
young. And-
I think he came out of IMG.
Yeah,
I don't think he went to
He's
college.
23 right now.
yeah. Which is crazy because he's been a year league for like 4 years.
Yeah.
kind of, but that goes to prove. And he was like, I think he was a lottery pick too, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
He
Yeah.
was a top lottery pick.
So I have another team. Do you have a team that you want to
and
talk
shit
about?
on Sharp. Just had to mention him. I'm really huge on him.
Yeah. Do you have another team you want to talk about?
Not really. Just maybe the Nuggets. Jamal Murray's coming back. He's finally healthy again. I know it's going to take him a while, but I think having Jamal Murray back is going to be huge. And I think they're supposed to be getting Michael Porter back. And
Who
Yeah,
knows? I
he's
think Michael
back.
Porter Jr. It's kind of a big question mark though
Yeah.
because he was supposed to be back like last year, but I think this back thing has been a problem for him ever since like that. I mean, that's why he dropped. That's why the Nuggets got the draft in was
Yeah.
because he had these problems with his back.
and his family history, I think all his siblings and his parents have all torn their ACL and like multiple times. It's crazy. That
So,
family history.
I wouldn't count him playing
Bad
the whole
genes.
season.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was saying this because there's actually another team that I forgot about that's very, very interesting. And you were talking about CJ's. I want to talk about the New Orleans Pelicans.
Oh,
Because
they're gonna
Zion
move back.
Williamson looks
Good.
slim. He looks like he lost a lot of weight.
CJ looks healthy too.
Yes, and the Pelicans, they what's it called? They had a really good, surprising year last year, and they add their superstar Zion Williamson, who slimmed down.
You ready for
That
this?
team is full of role players.
They're gonna be a top 4 seed.
I agree. I do agree.
I think
Top 4 seed
a lot of people
can
are
be
sleeping
done.
on the Pelicans, but what they almost upset the number 1 Phoenix Suns.
They did
And-
without Zion.
I think was CJ healthy for that whole series? I think he came back
I think he was injured
again
for a part of it.
Yeah, I'm really high on that team. I'm
That
not
team,
gonna lie.
you got three players who can put up 20 a game in CJ, Brandinger, and Zion.
And then you have Herb Jones,
have
who's
Herb
a lockdown.
And then
Roll Tide.
roll tide. You have Larry Nance Jr., who's also a great defender. Jose Alvarado was
Grand Theft Alvarado.
They've caught on to his little sneak
became
up
a-
down the
But
back move.
even
though.
if you look beyond his signature move, he's still like hounding these guards.
Oh
up
yeah,
half
he
court, and he
was
can actually legitimately
hounding
play
Chris
defense.
Paul
in the
last year.
playoffs, full court. Chris Paul got tired of it. Chris Paul was like, "Man, can you like chill?" Like,
He looked like a young T.J. McConnell the way he was hustling out there.
And then you put Devontae Graham and Nikhil Alexander-Walker in like each corner, and then all of a sudden you have shooters, you have defenders, and you have these great dominant scorers.
I think Nikhil Alexander-Walker actually just got traded to the Jazz.
Did he actually?
I think so.
I
so
do
embarrassing.
agree.
That's
no,
so
you're right though, because
no, but even
But you're saying to your point, like they have open space for shooters in the corners, and the way that this offense, like the way they were rolling last year, especially when they were running it through CJ, when Ingram
Ingram, yeah.
was out, like, yeah, and now you're getting Zion back, who looks healthy, bigger.
he's
probably
saying he's
jumped higher.
jumping higher than he's
Yeah.
ever jumped before.
Scary
Which I
season
believe,
in
which I
front.
Well, like
believe.
I believe it, but it's kind of obscure to think that like he's jumping higher because he already has some of the most bounce in the NBA.
How much money would you have to be offered to take a hit from Zion Williams?
It's like a truck, bro.
full speed.
Let me
Like a-
think. I'm thinking at least $10 to $15 million.
Would you rather have Zion or Giannis driving at you?
Probably
Giannis.
Giannis, because he's probably gonna like.
He'll
jump
probably just
over
like
me.
jump
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
Zion's going shoulder into you.
Yeah,
first.
Zion's gonna make me look like Kevin Knox.
Yeah,
Zion
see,
has this little movie that's where he like
Giannis-
just shoves his shoulder into you and then just like box jumps, dunks on you.
Giannis will hurt my pride, but Zion will kill me.
Yeah, Giannis will make me hurt inside. Zion will just make me hurt.
Yeah.
It's so funny watching him just like shove people out of his way and then literally just like it's like a squat and then just like gets his head above the rim.
Coincidentally,
and then just dunks it down.
he did it at that against Giannis. That's one of his most famous highlights.
Yeah.
It's insane.
One of the things I also want to mention before we wrap this up is I don't know if you guys saw it. It's kind of early, but oh my God, Victor Wembanyama.
Wembanyama, I think is how you say it.
Yeah.
Oh my God! You guys want to talk about a prospect?
Man,
That is 7. He's supposed to be 7'3", but
7'4".
yeah, he's
What's
7'3",
that
but with
7'4" now?
shoes. But with shoes, he's 7'4", I believe. And he can do everything KD can do. It's literally like, imagine KD and Giannis combined. This is what I am so nervous. Like, if you're like the Spurs, the Jazz, maybe the Knicks, like, I don't know what teams you guys are expecting to not do so well.
Mhm.
I'm actually high on the Kings. I think the Kings are actually going to be really competitive.
Mhm.
I actually like what they did. Like, I used to give them so much crap for that trade last year with Tyrese Halliburton. I thought that was too early. But they actually looked really good after the All-Star break. And
Keegan Murray looks really good.
he's a solid, like, get ready to play now kind of guy. But oh my God, guys, search out Victor. I can't say his last name.
Victor, one of my
The
Yama,
fact
whatever.
that Adam Silver is already saying like, "Hey guys, please don't tank too hard this season. We need like,
Yeah.
like at least like don't put out a lineup of G League players." It shows this prospect and how insane he is. He's 7'4". He shot 7 for 11 from 3,
Yeah.
which like
Is ridiculous.
The guy who went up.
if you're like 6'4" and you go out there and you go 7 for 4 from 3 against the guy who's supposed to be the second overall pick
And
in Scoot.
that's exactly, and I wanted to give him a shout out too because he played also very well before he left the game with injury. But
Scoot is definitely
Number two,
a better
probably.
playmaker. He's definitely number 2. He's a playmaker,
Mm-hmm.
which
Yeah.
Victor did end the game with 0 assists. So there is something there. I don't know how much you want to read into that. Scoot did have 9, I believe, in the game. So there's definitely he's got some more playmaking upside to it. But definitely, if you get the first or second overall pick this season, you're feeling good about
yeah,
yourself.
explains a lot of moves. Just real quick, explains a lot of moves like the Spurs. We wonder why they moved on from DeJounte Murray. That explains it.
Why the Jazz were so
Yeah.
willing to dump both their players.
It makes sense.
Danny Ainge was just eyeing Victor in France.
If you're Charlotte right now, I'm so content.
Yeah.
Charlotte or any of these, because I don't think Charlotte's going anywhere. But that's a topic for another
The
day.
Pacers, the Wizards.
Yeah.
There's a lot of these teams that you might just see. Like, the problem is some of these teams already have the head start before the season's even started to tank. Like normally it's like you get to the All-Star break and then you like bench the players, but the Spurs and the Jazz have
Yep.
a head start on
They're
this.
just like, nope, we're gonna move on. But that's a topic for another day, and we can get more into it next time. But
It's been a pleasure, boys, as always. This has been 90.7 The Capstone, the Soon section. See you next time.
Adios, mis amigos.
WVUA FM, Tuscaloosa.